Today, we're diving into a topic that could save your dream vacation from turning into a financial nightmare: trip insurance. So, whether you're a first time cruiser or a seasoned sailor, you might be tempted to skip it in order to save a few bucks. But trust me, after hearing these real life horror stories and learning why cruise specific insurance is a must, hopefully, you'll never book a cruise without it again. Ahoy, travelers! It's Amy here to help you make your travel experience a success with some important information on travel insurance for your cruise. So, why is trip insurance so critical for cruisers? Unlike a regular vacation, cruises come with unique risks: flight delays, medical emergencies at sea, or even missing the ship due to unforeseen events. Regular health insurance often doesn't cover you outside the US, and cruise lines aren't known for being forgiving with refunds. Plus, cruise specific insurance is designed to handle these situations, covering things like misconnections, medical evaluations, and trip cancellations. And here's the kicker: you need to buy it right after booking, ideally within 14 days, to ensure coverage for those pre existing conditions, or if you're wanting cancel for any reason policies. Now, my advice: get that cruise insurance picked out and paid for right after you officially book your cruise. Now, before you argue that you are healthy and there's no need to waste money on cruise insurance, let's look at what can happen when you skip it. Let's start with a heart-wrenching story about a family from Colorado whose dream cruise turned into a nightmare. In December of 22, 8-year-old Stefan Kieran was on his first Carnival cruise with his mother, Heidi, and sister when they stopped in Belize for a horseback ride excursion. Now, during this tour, Stefan's saddle flipped and he was dragged by the horse for nearly 2 miles, suffering a skull fracture, third-degree burns, and a brain contusion. The local hospital in Belize couldn't really provide the specialized care that he needed, and the cost to airlift him back to Colorado's Children's Hospital, a staggering $50,000. Now, without trip insurance, the family launched a GoFundMe, and they were able to raise over $68,000, and thankfully, Peak Medevac offered a free flight after seeing their story. Stefan's story shows how fast a fun excursion can become a life or death crisis. And most U.S. healthcare plans aren't going to cover overseas care or transport. Cruise-specific trip insurance could have covered Stefan's evacuation and medical bills, sparing his family the stress of crowdfunding while he was fighting for his life. And let's be honest, not everyone is going to garner the sympathy that was given to an 8-year-old fighting for his life. So don't put your trust in the hopes that crowdfunding will cover for your lack of trip insurance. Now, while this story had a happy ending, there are other stories of people who are unable to raise money for flights back to the US, and not all of them have positive outcomes. Now, let's talk about Darlene and Robert Wheeler, a couple from Texas whose dream cruise vanished in a heartbeat. In February of 24, they were set to sail on Norwegian Cruise Line's Norwegian Dawn from Miami, a $4,800 trip that they had been planning for months. But their connecting flight from Dallas was delayed 6 hours due to mechanical issues, and it landed them in Miami just after the ship's final boarding call. Norwegian's policy was clear: no boarding, no refund. Now, the Wheelers begged for an exemption, but NCL stood firm, leaving them out the full $4,800. The Wheeler story is a stark reminder that missing a cruise can cost you everything if you don't have the right protection. Cruise-specific trip insurance could have saved them with the missed connection coverage, which often reimburses non-refundable costs for delays like mechanical issues, if the policy includes it. But don't forget, you need to buy it within 14 days of booking to unlock maximum benefits. Without it, you're stuck just like Darlene and Robert. So you don't want to pay for insurance that's not going to cover everything you need. On a related note, this story also highlights the importance of flying into your cruise port a day early. Had the Wheelers done so, the delayed flight likely would not have meant showing up to the cruise port late. So, why do you need cruise-specific insurance? Well, regular travel insurance might cover flights or hotels, but cruises involve unique situations. Medical care at sea, missed port connections, or itinerary changes due to weather. Cruise-specific policies, like those from insurance agencies like Allianz Travel Insurance, cover things like onboard medical care, trip interruptions, and even getting you to your next port if you miss the ship. Personally, I like using RD.com, which takes your information and provides multiple policies to choose from various companies. You can narrow down policies by the coverage that you need. Due to a new vacation schedule at my work, meaning I'm booking and paying for vacations before I can even ask off for a specific date, don't get me started on this. One of my requirements is to now be able to cancel due to work. So I'm finding insurance that allows me to do that. Costs a little bit more, but it is worth it since I can't guarantee that I can get the time off, even though I've already had to have the cruise paid for. Another pro tip that I've hinted at, you need to buy your insurance within 14 days of booking your cruise. This ensures coverage for pre-existing medical conditions, and it'll often unlock cancel for any reason options. Now, those are more expensive, but if you're needing that, it will allow you to get cash refund or future cruise credit for almost any issue that would come up. Waiting too long could leave you exposed, like in the case of one cruiser who faced a $45,000 hospital bill after falling ill on a 70-day cruise. Her insurance only covered the $8,000 cruise cancellation fee, not the medical costs, because the policy wasn't comprehensive enough. You might be thinking, I've got a fancy credit card with travel perks. Doesn't that cover me? Not so fast. Credit card trip insurance, like what you get with Chase Sapphire or Amex Platinum, often falls short for cruisers. These plans typically cover basics like trip cancellation or delays, but they're not tailored for cruise-specific risks. For example, most don't cover medical evacuations from a ship, which can cost 50 grand or more, as we saw with Stefan's story. They also often exclude pre-existing medical conditions unless you book within a very tight window, and misconnection coverage might not apply to cruise-specific issues like missing a port due to a late flight. Plus, their limits are low, sometimes just $10,000 for cancellations, which can be less than the cost of the cruise. For full protection, you need cruise-specific insurance bought within that 14 days of booking to cover emergencies and unexpected hiccups. So, how do you avoid these nightmares? Here are my top tips. Number 1, buy early. Get insurance within that 14 days of booking to cover pre-existing conditions and maximize your benefits. I would do it right after you book your cruise. Do not wait. Do not shut your computer down or whatever you're using to book it. Get it right then. Number 2, choose cruise-specific policies. Look for plans that include misconnection coverage, medical evaluation, and trip interruption. Sites like insuremytrip.com and tripinsurancestore.com are great for comparing policies. And like I said, I always use RD. Number 3, read the fine print. Make sure your policy covers what you need, like flight cancellations for mechanical issues, not just the weather. And number 4, don't rely on credit cards. Many credit card protections, like those from Amex or Chase, have exclusions for medical evaluations or non-weather related delays. Cruising is all about relaxation and adventure, but without trip insurance, you're rolling the dice. Stories like the ones we have talked about show how quickly things can go wrong and how expensive it can get. Don't let your dream vacation turn into a financial disaster. Get cruise-specific insurance. Buy it early and sail with peace of mind. I always say if you cannot afford cruise insurance, you can't afford to cruise. Now, if you've got a travel insurance story, good or bad, drop it in the comments below and let's keep this conversation going. Well, are you ready for more information on cruising? Why not stick around and check out this video? and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.